Hello wolves! So today we're obviously here to talk about my January wrap-up. The 2 first weeks of January went super well because I almost read like 10 books the 2 first weeks, I think. And then I've read like in total 13 books and I almost DNF'd 2. And yeah, that's probably why the second part of January wasn't that good reading wise, because I was struggling with 2 books which I should have DNF'd, but I wanted to finish them for some weird reason. But yeah, 13 books is still very good, so let's just jump into it. So you probably know that I'm tracking my reading now because the G over at Book Rose created like a sheet or whatever, Copile 2019 system kind of thing. So I enter every single book, but I see here that I didn't enter the last one or whatever. So let's just go through the stats. Oh no, I have to enter the book I finished actually first. In January, I've read 13 books and I've read 4,813 pages, which is fair enough. 92.3% of the author were white people, and only 1 book actually was of a person of color. So I've read 3 audiobooks, 6 ebooks, and 4 physical books. 7 books were young adult and 6 were adult. And then I've read 1 sci-fi, I've read 2 paranormals, I've read 2 historical fictions, I've read 2 short stories, and 6 fantasy. I got 2 5 stars, 4 4 stars, 3 3 stars, and 4 2 stars. Yeah, I think that's it for the stats. So the first book I've read is Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It was an ebook and I gave it 4 stars because I really did enjoy it. It is a paranormal fantasy because it has to do with vampires and werewolves, etc, etc, you know, all these kind of characters kind of thing. It really made me think of Percy Jackson, even if I haven't read any Percy Jackson, just because the people were actually half-blood because they were not gods or whatever, they were not pure bloods, and they were going to school, if they were lucky, with the pure bloods, getting trained to become like sentinels, etc, etc. And I really enjoyed the characters, the writing style, and the plot and everything that was happening in that book. I feel like it was a guilty pleasure because it's not the book I actually kind of like usual, but it was really the case this one. I had fun reading it, so that's all I needed. Then I've read Checkpoint by Jean-Christophe Ruffin, which I gave 3 stars. It was in French, so let me tell you, it was hard to read in French first. That's a book I borrowed from a colleague who was like, okay, you have to read that because it has to do with the war that we had in ex-Yugoslavia, and as you know, I'm Boston and Slovenian. And it was interesting, but I didn't really enjoy it, not because it was about the war or whatever, but because I was thinking that it would be something about the war, about what people lived on a day-to-day basis, you know what I mean? But it was more about the humanitarian going there to help, and then realize that during war everyone can be a bad person, and even if you're going there with goods and whatever to help people, you will end up doing something bad because you need to survive. So I loved that aspect of it, but I didn't like love the entire book, so 3 stars. Fair enough, I guess. Then I've read A Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness, so the sequel to A Shadow of what's the first one? Also, no, I don't remember. Discovery of Witches. I gave it 3 stars because I was actually super bored. I really love the writing style. I really love the historical fiction in it. I really love everything in it, but I was just bored because it was like, in the first book, this is a story of a girl who is actually studying history with a big H, and she's passionate about it, and she's gonna meet a vampire, and she's gonna get like involved in some drama and stuff, and she's actually a witch, etc, etc, and she has some kind of ability that you will discover, like, you know it in the first book, but you will really experience it in the second book. I'm not telling you what, obviously. And it was really cool to walk through times and to read about stuff that happened in the past through historian eyes, let's say, but I felt like every time she was actually going through exactly the same thing in book 2, so I was a bit bored, but still it is an amazing series. I feel the writing style is amazing, the story is amazing. I was just bored, so hopefully the third one will be better than this one. Then I read Nothing is Strange by Mike Crystal. The author actually contacted me and asked me to read that book and to review it. So thank you so much for asking me that and sending me a free copy of it. It's a book that's already out, and if you want, it is a bundle of short stories, and none of them make actually sense. Meaning, I don't even know how to explain that, but none of the story made sense, but it was still very fun to read. So I gave it 3 stars, not 4 stars because I wasn't like addicted to it, but not 2 stars because it wasn't bad. I really enjoyed each stories, but even I was like at some point, whoa, does that make sense? Whoa, how come, what? And I feel like there was a message behind each stories, like someone will tell you, like, you know, like the message or the image you had behind Animal Farm. Like each animal was actually someone that was real or alive at that point, or kind of, and it made me think of that. So there was a message behind each story. I didn't get them all, but I still really enjoyed it. So it was like a fun read. I read it in less than 100, wow, than 1 hour. Then my first 5 stars of the year, and it's so not gonna be a surprise, but this is Come Tumbling Down by Shanna Maguire. So this is the 5th book in the We Were Children series. If you haven't read that series, please stop this video and go read them, because I freaking love that series so much. It is one of my all-time favorite. I will keep rereading it. I will keep recommending it to everyone, because oh my gosh, if you don't know what it is about, it's about We Were Children. So going back to her, because actually they went through a door like Narnia, whatever, and they end up in the world made for them, that was made for them, perfect for them, perfect for the way of thinking and working, etc. And they ended up back to the normal world, and they're not good about that, like they're not happy about that. So they're going to a school to actually learn to live with that and to wait for their door, because that's all they want to do. They wait for the door to come back so they can go back to their real home. And it's just living all the little stories and all the children's world, etc, etc. It's really interesting, and I really do love that series so much, so you have to read it. Then I've listened to Aurora by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I gave it, I think, 4 stars. Yes, it is a sci-fi. YA sci-fi. I listened to the other book on script. I really did enjoy the story and the characters. I loved all the characters. I wasn't just addicted to it. So basically this is the story of a bunch of kids kind of thing, alien kind of thing, who are getting trained, and at the end they're going through some kind of draft, and like the best kids can get the best position, etc, etc. And one day the best guy who would get like the best position decided to play the hero and helped Aurora, and he actually saved her. And then when she wakes up, they're gonna discover some secrets and some conspiracy, and something is wrong, and blah 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 blah. It was a really fun sci-fi. It's again a really good sci-fi if you're getting into sci-fi, because it's not especially your genre to start with. I really did enjoy it. I listened to it in no time, so it's free on Scribd if you have a Scribd. If not, there is probably a link that I could put somewhere on my link tree. It is, so you can get like 2 months free. I don't get anything out of it, so it's just for you to try, and then you can cancel. But if you want to cancel, do it on your laptop, because it's impossible to cancel from the app on your phone, so you know. But yeah, really good sci-fi. I definitely recommend it, and I'm really waiting for Burning Rising. Is it the name of the second one? Whatever the sequel's name is, I'm waiting for it. Then I've read The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed that book, but I was so confused. I feel like, how can I say, this is a story of a book about a book. It is a story of a book. The book is a story of a book. I don't even know where to start with that. Like, it was really well done. The writing style is amazing. The story is amazing, but it was confusing because I didn't understand at one point, why so much honey? Why so much honey? I feel like this is a symbol for rebirth or whatever, like fresh and getting rid of all the sticky negative stuff from your old life or whatever. I don't know, you have to read it and please let me know what you thought of it. But it has to do, like, the story starts with a guy reading a book and he actually reads some chapters about his life, or a short story about his life, and he's like, how come my life is in a book? And that's the beginning of everything, and he's gonna look into it, he's gonna make some research, and he's gonna discover some kind of society, etc, etc. It's really well done. It's just like confusing at one point, but fun. A fun confusing kind of thing, if that makes sense. Then I've read Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as addictive as the other one, the King, what's the name of the first one again? Wicked Deep. But it was good, but I just feel like the characters didn't make like sense as much as the other book. At some point I was like, okay, that's not what a normal person will do. The ending was a bit rushed and easy for me, but at the same time it was well done because I wasn't actually expecting it. So basically this is a story of a girl who lives in her house with her dog, and she is actually some kind of witch because she can go to the Winterwood, she can go to the wood at certain time, like at the full moon or whatever, when the forest is actually asleep, and she goes there and she collects items that she finds in the forest. She doesn't know where the items are coming from, but one day she's gonna see actually a boy who's supposed to be dead because he actually went missing a few weeks ago, I guess, and he is from the wayward center, whatever, for boys who the parents just cannot deal with them anymore, so they left them there to get some education, to get some training, and I don't know, to get better and more like tamed, I guess. And yeah, she's gonna find him, and she's not gonna understand how come she found the boy, because the wood actually kills people, it doesn't keep them alive, kind of thing. And that's the beginning of everything, and I really loved some parts, etc, etc. Some parts I was like, okay, that's that and that's that happening, but I'm not saying anything because spoilers, obviously, but I was really intrigued. So 4 stars. It's also the book for the Howling Pack. I'm gonna upload my reading vlog for that one soon in February. But yeah, I enjoyed it and the cover is gorgeous, so yeah. Then I've read Romanov by Nadine Brandes. I gave it 5 stars. You know, I'm addicted to anything that has to do with like wolves, obviously, but also Anastasia, Romanov, etc, etc, and yeah, the Wayward Children series and Harry Potter and Aragon and Narnia. But you know, my love for Anastasia's retellings is endless, and I really love that one. It was actually a retelling, but the very first part of it, like almost a little over the half of it, like maybe almost, I don't know, 50-70% of it was actually more historical fiction than a retelling, because if you are into that kind of story, if you love the Romanov story, etc, it was real, like real. Let me explain. If you read books telling the story about the Romanov, the way they were kept alive, etc, etc, it is really close to reality, meaning it is very close to what actually happened, which was insane. I wasn't expecting to read something more historical fiction than just fiction starting that book, but I really loved it because the author actually made a ton of research. You can tell by reading it. The writing style is amazing, and you know the Romanov, you know Anastasia, you know, etc, the story I feel like we all know. The twist was amazing in that book. I really enjoyed it. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't expecting it, and the fact that it was very historical fiction at the beginning with a touch of fantasy, I just adored that book. I just adored it. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. That was my second 5 stars of the year, so it's telling you something. Then I've read The Lost Sisters by Holly Black, you know, the novella kind of thing. I gave it 2 stars because I didn't see the point of it, so let's move on. Then I've read Darkdawn by J. Christoph. I gave it 2 stars. I know, unpopular opinion here, but hear me out. The first book, so Nevernight, I didn't like it. I gave it 3 stars. The second book, what's the name of it? God's Grave, I gave it 4 stars because I liked it better. And then the last one, I was just bored. The thing is that I didn't care about the characters since the very beginning of the series, since Nevernight, but I kept pushing myself reading it because everyone was actually reading it and loving that series, I mean, and saying that it's one of the best and blah 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 blah. J. Christoph is a king. He knows how to write and how to keep you on the edge of your chair or to make you feel stuff. I agree 100%. I just feel like Assassins and that kind of vibes is not for me. And I keep saying that, and I keep reading books I should not read because I know in advance they're not gonna be for me. So I hope this is gonna be a lesson for me to never pick up a book again that I think I'm not gonna enjoy. So 2 stars because it wasn't for me. That book wasn't bad, that's not what I'm telling. I'm telling that I didn't enjoy it because it wasn't for me. But it is a good book, I think. So yeah, just not for me. Do I make sense? I hope so. Then I've read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I gave it 2 stars as well. I don't know where to start with that book. Like, I feel like the book is split in 3 parts, and it has to do with Japanese and Chinese, I think, war that actually happened, or tensions. I am not an expert, so I just didn't really care about that book, so I might remember stuff wrongly, if that makes sense. But the first part of it was really good, I feel like, because the main character was actually going to a school to learn stuff, and she had a kick-ass master or teacher kind of thing, and I really enjoyed that part. Even if the character was like perfect, she knew everything, she was good at everything, she was the smartest one, she was like the best one, whatever, that's when she got the best master, and that she went to that elite school and blah blah blah. Everything was perfect to her, like she was able to do everything perfectly, which doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, a real character has some stuff they don't know. Like, I'm good at some stuff, but I know I'm terrible at others, and the way she was written and described didn't make her like relatable for me, so I didn't really enjoy it. And then the rest of the book, I felt like it was just too much. Like the violence in it, I felt like it was just too, I don't know how to explain it. It was there just to be there and to make you feel stuff. It didn't feel natural. Okay, it was horrible, it was violence, and it's an adult book, but for me it was borderline YA, but whatever, because the main character wasn't mature enough. But I feel like the violence was there, and it was done in a way like I didn't care. It didn't make sense. It was just like pushed into you. It wasn't like natural. It didn't feel like it was coming at the right time. It was too much. So I'm just gonna stop rambling about it because it's a lot of people's favorite. So let's just move on to the last book. And the last book is The Wicked King by Holly Black. I gave it 2 stars. I almost DNF'd that one, as well as like Darkdawn. Again, why am I continuing a series when I don't enjoy the first book? I'm not gonna talk much about it. I didn't care about anything. I don't like the characters. I don't like the plot. I don't know why I keep doing that to myself. So I'm at that point like, I only have 1 book left in this series. I should read it. But my brain's like, why would you read a book you know you're not gonna enjoy? Okay, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, well, so I've read 13 books in January. I think it's good, even if I got, like, I think it's okay. I got a 4 2 stars, but that's fine. I got 2 5 stars, which is amazing. So I'm just gonna stop here. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of the pack. Talk to me in the comment section as usual. Let me know what was your favorite book of January, for instance. And until next time, take care, wolves. Bye.